Welcome to the Chronic Minds podcast. It's your host here, Ray, and I'm here with Vino. You know what I'm saying? You're from Atlanta. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Currently out in LA at this moment. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just here just to have a little conversation starting with you. So, I guess we'll start with just a couple questions. How you feeling and how's your mental health?
I'm feeling pretty good because you invited me onto your podcast. That was like a lovely surprise, so I appreciate it. I appreciate you having me on. Mental space, I'm pretty good right now. I heard about the show. It was an interesting concept. I love the open atmosphere that you give for thought-provoking pieces. So, ready to get into it.
I feel that. I feel that. So, man, what's like the background on you? Like, where are you coming from at when it comes to all this?
All this
I
way.
mean, with the world we living in, with the world we living in, the state, especially with you having like banks shut downs and people kind of going through this recession. You know what I'm saying? So like, how are you at, and where what's kind of your story in it? You know what I'm saying? That's the best way that I can say it.
Okay, for sure. So personally, where I'm at, I think it's crazy the amount of resources that aren't shared with people that we have available, and we don't make that like fucking mandatory law that we disperse that evenly among everybody. Ooh, might be sounding like in communism type of thing, but I just feel like, basic human rights should be accessible to everybody, especially if we have a lot of other stringent laws in place, especially because, as a black man in America, you face a lot of scrutiny over a lot of bullshit, essentially. And it's like, damn, bro, if we're gonna like, I get it. We need to have some type of laws in place to do right by each other because we can't trust everybody to do that. But if you're going to enforce these laws, I should feel like you're also giving us incentive to abide by them type shit. So saying that, I feel like there is a lot of like negativity due to like leadership um and corruption and like the world type of thing, but I always try to like keep an eye out for the bright spots. um just because I feel like if I'm just consuming like, oh, another recession, duh, like women rights are taken away. Terrible example, by the way. Very offended by women's rights being taken away. That was a crazy move. But I just mean in the sense of I always look for news like in Minnesota. I think they just announced that they're bringing a bill to Senate of where they are going to provide free breakfast and lunch for all the children in school. And I think something like that is beautiful, especially if we push school on so many people and push a standard of like learning and growing up. We should at least be giving them everything that they need in return. Because, like you said, the economy is like in another recession type of thing where like jobs aren't available to like uneducated peoples or low educated peoples, because even low educated people, that's about to become, so I hear, right, they always say it, that's about to become people with bachelor's degree, you know and not saying that they're low educated, but that's going to be like the high school diploma in a sense. Like back in the day, if you ain't had a high
Yeah,
school
no, no,
diploma, that
it's
was
gonna. No, you're right, because that's the new standard type. You know what I'm saying? I don't apologize for interrupting you, but that is realistic where we at. I was just having a conversation with somebody the other day about like it's one thing living here now with a bachelor's degree in America, trying to just work with whatever salary you're getting if you're making like 50, 60,000. There's another concept when you're thinking about those that are, like you said, living with just the high school diploma, GED, and they're just trying to figure out you know even to some point, like it's hard to really live around anywhere if you're not making nearly like 15, 16 an hour at bare minimum. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? And like even people with that have to have roommates to even live out here. It's
right,
not really as affordable as you would hope for. Homelessness is growing, which I know since you moved out to
nigga,
LA, you probably been
nigga.
walking all types of down Skid Row, ducking and. The turds on the road.
I'm trying to
So it's
fucking
just
tell
like
you.
at the end of the day, we don't, bro, like people are not like we're not really connecting to each other. Like we're getting like even when they're talking about banning like TikTok, like I'm in mixed feelings about that because I see like I don't like TikTok just because again they're taking your data, not like any other app isn't taking your data, but they're really taking your data and really, you know what I'm saying? They're taking it to a whole nother level. And plus, like, I don't really like sitting there being fed everything I want to see. You know what I'm saying? And that's really like how media is for the most part. Is like, you know, tinfoil hat on, whatever the case is, it's just like everything's a promotion. They only gonna promote what's negative to you more than what's positive to you. Because at the end of the day, people are still gonna be people and they rather see something bad happen. They rather focus on the bad, even though they're not living in the bad. You know, we have so much good around us and so much positive things you could look at. And if you kind of like start your day off with what you appreciate more than like, you know, what you don't, you know what I'm saying? You kind of get like a different perspective into your life because people have more, but then also people have less, you know what I'm saying? And it's a balance in there, you know, but you can kind of, I'm not going to say you can balance yourself, but like not everything has to be so negative. You know what I'm saying? But continue. Well,
Sorry, but it's funny that you say that
you
because
good.
my friend actually sent me a video about a TED talk where a guy was talking about if we have more positive thought processes and like positivity brings on like better improvement and performance and whatnot, things like that. You know, like positive, the power of positive think, right? And I very much agree with that. Like there is good happening out there, and we should be more appreciative of it. Um, and like you said, that's the thing about technology and social media. I have a bigger theory that like you said, everything that you want to see is put right in front of you, right? That's for a fucking reason. They listen to everything that you're fucking saying and then they just feed you everything that you want to see at that moment to keep you engaged with this stupid fucking phone. Christ. It's the
Yep.
fucking worst. I get I'm sorry, I get really passionate about that.
No, you good. You good, man. But that like that's the
Yeah.
truth of it. Like we get so consumed in our phones. Like even now, man, to imagine like, you know, 20, even 25 years ago, people were still working with like the landlines. You know what I'm saying? They no one
Right.
had no
Just
phone.
like
Like if anything, the best you were doing was like a pager on your hip. You know what I'm saying? That
at
was
best,
pretty
and
much
you
it.
had to
Like
been
as
a
far as
fucking
like
drug dealer for that.
yeah, like you had if you had a pager on your hip, you had purpose. It wasn't just like people really needed to talk to you all the time. And if anything, like even going outside, you really didn't have no way of like, you know, staying safe other than just watching your back, you know, to the best of your
Right.
degree.
And
You could go
trusting
out and not
everybody
come
else
home that
around you.
day. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Which ain't too different now, but with the access to devices, you know, you're able to, you know, clip the police doing some heinous, you know, against some folks, and you're able to kind of like get a little bit more
Protect
leverage
yourself.
to kind of, you know, help yourself in a situation. Yeah, that I mean that's really it. It doesn't, you know, we kind of want to live in these world of guarantees, but
Yeah. I feel you like 1,000%. Do you just asked me my whole biggest theory on this like social media thing? Oh man, I think
in
all right.
technology.
So okay, so do you have you ever heard the saying like we're now living in like a godless country essentially? And have you heard the theory
Yes,
that like man killed God, or you know, the saying that man killed God?
I haven't heard that one.
Okay, so it's essentially
Essentially,
like what I've heard, what I conceptualize it as, what I take it as is like humans got so smart to a point where we didn't need this higher power or higher entity to keep us in check anymore. You know, like back in the day, like you said, you know, we didn't have those guarantees of safety back in the day. So, like, a fucking storm comes by, wipes your whole crops out. Nigga, you're not going to eat for like a fucking year, right? And then you're like, oh my goodness, we are fucking cursed by God. I don't have any way to provide for myself. Fuck, right? I didn't praise God hard enough. We essentially grew to like, okay, I can mass produce this thing and not need to depend on any outside weather concurrence happening for me to ensure my basic needs, right? So I think we continue to get to that point where like, okay, we don't even have to worry about like we still have to worry about things like fire and shit, but you know, we've got it down to a science. You know, we're getting things down to a science. Even like illnesses. Fucking think about it now, Ray. Right? I can call you Ray on here, right?
Mm.
Oh, for sure, for sure.
Yes, sir.
Um, when you go on a vacation, right? What do you think about the first thing that you are gonna do on this vacation?
For sure. Just relax and just try my best to have a good time, to be honest with you. Now, I don't know if that's everybody's motives. They might go out to want to party or see a beach or something, take in a lot more of the nature, maybe, you know.
Hmm.
But
Okay.
I'm an adventurous dude, so I like to see the nature in the wild, go hiking maybe, you know.
Yeah, that's a nice time. I feel like back then, right? Um, the settlers were like, "Oh shit, I might catch dysentery and die at 18, my nigga." Like, so I can imagine traveling down to fucking from what's the distance from Dallas to Austin type shit, or Houston to Austin,
Dallas,
whatever's closest.
I'm not sure the distance from Houston to Austin, but Dallas to Austin is about like 3.5 hours. I want to say just about.
A
So
three
it's
and a
just
half hour
like,
drive was
you know
probably,
what I'm saying?
yeah, that's in the elements for like
Yeah,
24
like that.
hours probably for them niggas.
Oh, for sure, because cars weren't a thing. So it's just like when you even speak on innovation, like it also puts us in different like circumstances, even when we compare it to like what was time before. Even when we talk about
Exactly.
like phones and stuff and the internet, like it's a whole different thing talking about what it was in the 90s than it is now, just 30 years later. You know what I'm saying? And
Right.
and really, like, 30 years, I mean, 30 years in our lifetime feels like a long time, but in the grand scheme, it's very
Hmm.
small, very minimal.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because this
Right.
Earth's been around for thousands of years, thousands, and
Hmm. And we're just
I
seeing a
even
blip of
somewhat
history.
believe that again, exactly, and anything could happen and just wipe us out, and we just start this again.
Right.
And what says that this time that we did it, we got it all right, or this time we're just working from a whole different normal. But again, that kind of goes into my own weird conspiracy theories about the world and whatnot. But continue your point. My fault.
Right. Point being is we've come a long way. Um, we've come a long way from technology, and we're starting to create these things that listen and hear us and just give us what we need. And I feel like it's going to get to a point where we just become like so reliant on them. We're going to create, because then I see all these fucking nice little robots on the internet that have guns in their back and do backflips over walls and shit. And I feel like at some point we're just going to try to merge the two to be like, oh, you're just going to be subservient to humans. And then they're going to be like, well, we don't really need humans. So we're just going to go over here. And it's going to be like some big war, Terminator esque type of thing, but more heart
Oh
into it,
yeah, I knew you was gonna say that. I mean, we're
So we're
already
either
kind of getting
making
to
our
a
own
good point where we're
species.
merging.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Now
that's what I was
continue.
saying about like, oh, sorry. Yeah. I was just saying like about them just knowing what you want to see and putting it in front of you. I think me and my friend were on PlayStation, right? We were talking about, oh man, my controller always drifts, da 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 da. Like I need some air, like some pressurized air to spray it in, right? I'm on Amazon looking for like some fertilizer for a tree I just bought or something, right? And I'll probably see more fertilizer now because I just said I bought a tree or they heard me. I see an advertisement for like a fucking pressurized air can type shit, and I've never typed this into Amazon, never searched this on the phone anywhere. Like it's shit like that where I'm just like, okay, guys, like I fucking get it. And like it's it's funny because I screamed out like when I see it, I just get so like ticked because I have to remind myself like, oh, these niggas are really like listening and watching at all times.
No, I feel that because usually when I like, it's kind of I hate it a lot more because like for me, I won't be so for more that I hear somebody speak it, but like I literally was
Hmm.
just looking at it on another app, and then when I'm in
Yeah,
like a social media app, they're just advertising that same thing I already just looked at. You know what I'm saying? So it's
yeah.
just like you're just blatantly doing it at this point. Like there's no hiding it. There's no like ease of it at all. But that's kind of like the world we live in. Like with consumerism the way it is, if you're not feeding somebody what they want, they're not gonna buy. And most times you kind of got to convince people what they want. But if you can already get people on that indecisive moment when they thought about that they wanted it and just convince them even more that they just need it, possibly just showing
Yeah.
them enough times or even just, hoping that something just leads that, that click or something like that, or even that buy. Like we're just constantly caught in that. I hate the new phrase
Yeah.
like TikTok made me buy it. Why?
Oh,
You
is
know what I'm
that a
saying?
thing?
Why is it
That's
that
crazy.
TikTok made you buy it? I think so, bro, or I think it was like a hashtag or something. But
It
I'm
probably
not gonna
is.
sit
It
here and
probably is.
say that there isn't stuff. I'm not gonna say that there isn't stuff that you see on social media that makes you think like it can make your life easier. But in a lot of cases, more than none, like if your life was already fine how it is, you're not really gonna change it that much. Which is kind of like it's a weird double standard because again, we're in innovative times, and if you're not like
Yeah.
leveling up, you're staying behind. But I feel like that's something that's inevitable to some point. You're not gonna stay ahead with everybody
Shit.
you surpass you at
How
some
grim.
point.
That's
the
that's beautiful.
no,
That's
no, it's
poetry. You
crazy,
should write
but
that
like
down. That's a bar.
I feel like that's the point of life. Like if we're not living, because we're gonna die someday, and not to focus on death too much, but I feel like that's
I
more
mean,
of a
but
reason
it's
that you
an
should
equalizer.
appreciate and be grateful for what you have. Yeah, you know
Yeah.
what I'm saying. If we live forever and you had nothing but endless possibilities, you wouldn't care. You inevitably wouldn't care. Half of what we're doing now wouldn't even matter because we'd be alive 1,000 more years from now. You know.
Yeah.
But
You
since
know,
that's
it's
not the
funny.
case, and that max you're hoping is 100, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, no, no. It's all you. You said what was funny.
Oh, I was just thinking the other day, like, shit, if we were alive, if humans were alive forever, it would just give niggas like a longer time to be mad at people. And it was just like, damn, this shit would just go in a cycle for real. Like, shit would just literally go in a circle for niggas.
No facts. You know, I know it's kind of like weird whenever we even think about people wanting more things, but like, I feel like that's kind of like what plays into like colonialism in a way. People wanted
Hmm.
more stuff, and certain, groups, individuals already had it. And when it comes down to like when you really want something, it's even now if people rob from each other, like, it comes down to the fact of survival, and we're also just trying to live by that first things that we're trying to survive. You're trying to make it through day to
Right.
day to keep living and prevent yourself from dying. Coming together as this
Yeah.
collective, we create civilization. You know what I'm saying? We start to put barriers between us having to live that way. But we're more so like a domesticated dog in a house. You know what I'm saying? Than
Yeah.
anything. You put us back in the wilderness like that, there's not too many people are gonna
We'll
survive. It's
fucking
gonna
eat
be
each
back to
other. We'll
survival of
fucking
the
eat each other.
fittest. Yeah. No, no. Look,
That's
cannibalism
crazy.
will happen. Like if you are put into the options of there's nothing else to eat, people will eat people to survive just a
Yeah.
bit longer. You know what I'm saying? And there, look, I hate to say it's crazy like that, but I wouldn't expect it any different. And if you expect anything different, like, are you willing to say that you're willing to starve? Not to say nobody's not willing to. Are you willing to starve to the brink of death?
All
Lying on
right.
a high ground.
Or would you go after that motherfucker with a little bit extra and be like, hey, man, I want that. Yeah. But that's
Yeah,
unfortunately
give me
like
a
the
little bit of that
mindset. I
fat.
feel like that's unfortunately the little mindset I feel like we have as a society of like not giving away when we have the opportunity to give away, and that creates a lot of hoarding, and that I feel like we're at a point where we shouldn't have to have that basic worry of like if I'm going to have enough to eat tonight, if I am going to make it to work in the morning because I don't have enough gas in my car, that type of shit, you know. But it's like you say, it's an interesting world that we live in where it's like constantly pushed out, and then we uh we just get back we just get back to just clawing and scratching at each other. We're still essentially doing the same thing. We're acting like we need to survive even though we have so much around us. And I feel like that's what you were going back to. The negativity that we see in the world kind of just puts us in a certain mind frame. And instead of like going outside and being grateful that you can appreciate this air, you're like, fuck, I'm always just looking at my fucking bank account, my credit score, shit to just make us worry about like the most unimportant things, you know?
Hmm. But that's the thing is like people live in, like I said, like people live in like their echo chambers. You know what I'm saying? Like I know at least you probably seen it back home from Atlanta. You know what I'm saying? I've seen it back home in Oklahoma City. Like growing up, like a lot of people kind of just get comfortable where they're at. You know what I'm saying? That's not
Mm,
necessarily the worst thing in the world. I just feel like it's kind of weird when you're so young to already have that mentality. Unless that's like again your comfort zone. You know what I'm saying?
you,
Because there's like while we're young, we until you get to your 30s, unless you got kids, I don't see a reason why like be in such a stagnant place. You know what I'm saying? You got so much room to do so much more, and at least to find somewhere else that you might be more comfortable with. You know what I'm saying? Like, but people in Texas only want to be in Texas. Everything they need in Texas is in Texas. It's the same mentality of somebody who lives in New York. You rather just stay in New
yeah,
York all day and live day to day there. But you see how people are starting to just move around and what I'm saying, live in these different places that have, cheaper options of living and whatnot, but then that's raising locality around the place. So of course it's getting more expensive to live. You catering to these bigger crowds of rich people coming in, like I forgot who I was
they see
speaking
their
to.
opportunity.
Even in no, for real. Like even in like certain areas, especially for certain black folks, we'll live in like subsidized housing or something like that. But it's like you're living somewhere you already can't afford. And then you're trying to just make it day to day with whatever money you can. But like you're saying, everybody's hoarding everything they can. Even when it comes to
Yeah,
money, whether it's resources, whether it's education, education's really expensive. School, even if you want to get a bachelor's degree, you have to get in a major that's going to be worth it to you, considering whatever
and
you're
it's gonna
paying
cost something.
for, even if you have a scholarship. And it's gonna cost
Facts.
something, bro. Who like anybody willingly going into student debt, like if you're not considering, like a cost, analysis towards that, because over the long term, you could be sitting with that loan until you're in your 40s or 50s or until you die, you know.
Yeah, but you know
Who wants
what's
to be stuck
crazy?
in that situation just because go ahead.
I was thinking what's crazy about it is just like how life has been so different for people who have lived this like loan life and have had the government freeze their loans and like not had to have pay it, not have that stress on them, like have that extra little bit of change in their pocket. And it's like showing it's so capable of happening. Niggas just need to fucking make it happen. But they gotta hold out for them votes.
You're good. I know
Okay,
it's a
good.
delay. That's why I might not edit it
Yeah,
too
yeah,
much
yeah.
to let people know it's a delay. You know what I'm saying? We're just trying to
No,
do it
it's all good.
online too. That's why I'm
Yeah.
trying to give like a video portion and an audio portion. So like, if you're listening on the audio and it's kind of like rough in some way, apologies to
Mhm.
me. We're just trying to get up. We're not. I ain't the richest man alive, so I don't got. I spent money just
Yeah.
on put me here just to sound good.
The equipment
At least
alone.
the
Come
audio
on, man.
sounds good. So we gotta
No,
you
you
gotta
all
work with
good.
what you
You all good.
can, man. But like,
Of course.
but no, that's the point of it all. Is like all that costs money and all that costs time, and you only got so many decisions to make while you're still just figuring out life. You know.
Mm. Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
And have you seen the Sopranos? Did I ask you this question?
you haven't asked me
On
this
the
question. I
Sopranos,
started watching The Sopranos, did not finish.
this is not a spoiler in any way, but there's an episode where the psychiatrist was talking about like she was in the therapy session with Tony and she was telling him like you know as humans, there's going to be a point where we get to a place where we are like stable enough financially. We don't have to worry about food that we put on the table, et cetera, et cetera. And then why not then after that we get to that comfortable place we start working on our mental health, like why don't we start trying to improve on ourselves now that we're not worried about like basic survival skills, and I feel like we're stuck in worrying about basic survival items and then as a nation we can't really improve on like what we need to do better because we're like so fucked up and so just focused on what they're putting in front of us, which is surviving and like surviving in fashion, like you say, with like being advertised to and shit like that, and thinking about what other people have. And yeah, it all just gets back to a point where, yeah. It's the government. I'll just go back. It's always the government. Fuck the
No,
government.
it's I mean, it's a lot of it's always gonna be a government, tinfoil cap always on. But that's the whole thing is like it's profitable. It's profitable to have people focus on
Mm.
that and then put people in
So,
a position where you have to struggle and keep surviving. Like, because at the end of the day, when you like you're saying, when you don't have money, you're living on in survival mode. So like you might be spending money to make money. When you work a job for a company or employer, you might be working up to a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks without getting paid. You know what I'm saying? And that's not like that's
whew,
kind of rough already if you're already put in a position that you needed a
that's
job. You know what I'm saying?
that's
So
a
if you
crazy
and you
concept.
already know like the majority, I forgot what the statistic was, but there's a good number of folks that don't even have, $1,000 saved to their name in a savings account.
You know
Nonetheless,
they have
like
that broken
enough
down by
money to
race too.
last you. Oh, I did not know they got it broken down by race. I might have to bring spit those statistics next time for sure.
Oh
Cause
my
that no,
goodness,
it's
yes,
crazy.
bro.
It's crazy. What you got any numbers on the black folks? Or I
Of
gotta
course, at
find
the
that out.
lowest.
I might even just look it up
Oh, you
right
gotta
now.
just look it up right now, bro. It's right there. It's so crazy. It's like, cause okay, so I'll go into that a little bit. My job also, I work as like a health equity person and a insurance company. So it's just to like, so I think after the COVID situation, like a lot of people had white guilt essentially, and they've created these like new positions and these new spots for them to seem like, hey, we're woke, you know. Um, but I see it as an opportunity to do good, and I also see it like as an opportunity to get checked. So like I'm involved in like grants going out into the community for like companies that are interested or actually actively work in lowering maternal black death rates. And that's just like at the highest numbers. You can look up stories about a young woman who was at like Mount Sinai. She was very educated. She had like 3 kids already or something like that. She was a pilot. She spoke different languages, and she could not get the time of day for like her third child or something that she was giving birth to. The husband was like
Mm.
begging and pleading for like her for somebody to come to her aid, like a doctor to say like, hey, like she's really in pain, like she just got out of labor, you need to help her, da da da. And he like they essentially just
Mhm.
kept telling him that he wasn't important enough, essentially, like she wasn't priority or on the list or some shit like that. Black woman, of course. And I think it was like 6 or 7, something crazy, like a crazy amount of hours before the doctor could see them and get her into like emergency surgery, because I think it was like she had blood bleeding into her intestines or some shit crazy like that. They needed
Oh
to go
wow.
back in and like stitch her up. No, it's like it's very sad, man. And then she ends up dying, with her father, like, leaving her husband behind, her 3 girl or 2 girls, something like that. It's yeah, it's just so sad to see like us at the bottom in so many things. But once again, if things were like basically provided and um excuse me, that story always gets me. If things were just basically provided and given out, we probably wouldn't have to worry about, you know, survival too much and get to a better place mentally for everybody. You hope.
Mm. Nah, you would hope. You would hope, but like let me
Hope I didn't
see.
bring the vibe
Like
down.
nah, you didn't, bro. I mean, it's reality. Like, I remember sitting in a hospital with somebody that didn't have health insurance, and it was a state hospital. And like even right now in these current times, like that happened maybe in 2021. So when I was with someone in the hospital, man, like the service was so bad. Like doctors
Yeah.
were twiddling their thumbs and looking at their feet, like while they're telling somebody, they made some mistake about how they when they have a whole hole in their chest. You know what I'm saying? Using like a breath tube. So it's just kind of like a lot to sit there on the side of the bed, listening to like a doctor just really like it is what it
Rattle
is.
shit
Like,
off at
we only
you
can help you so much.
like it's just information.
Bro,
Yeah.
like what? but then I didn't realize she didn't have health insurance, and it's just like that's another reality people are living in. Like you're not even paying for insurance for yourself, so it's like you can't afford medical
It's
bills like that. You can't.
it's crazy too. Yeah. That lady had like some of the best insurance too and still didn't get treated by that doctor. As a black woman, it's just something we go through. Like I can't even say we because I'm not a black woman, but black women genuinely go through when they're giving birth. Like it's it's a terrible reality that we live in. So the job that I work at is like essentially trying to like put money out there, put programs out there, give opportunity to like low income minorities, people of color like ourselves and things like that. You know, because it's a big world and um I've also like read up in what's it called? Read up in others like seminars that I've been in that in Japan or Korea, one of the how do I say this without being canceled? Asian countries have like similar people who have gone through similar things that black people have gone through. And like they read off a statistic where they didn't mention any names, and you would think it was actually a black um you would think it was actually talking about blacks in the United States, but it was actually talking about another race group in Korea or fuck, one of them Asian countries. Um,
Hmm.
yeah, so it's just like it's everywhere. They know what's profitable, they know what can sell type shit. They know how to keep people in check. The people in charge know how to keep people in check.
No, this is true. Like I'm even looking at this. I guess it was a national survey by the FDIC from 2021. Their results from that, and it's
Hmm.
like 11 point. Like it's saying like I'm looking at one figure that's talking about the unbanked rates by income level and race and ethnicity. You know what I'm saying? And like
Hmm.
all over, black people have the highest percentage was 11.3%. You know what I'm saying? Which is
Hmm.
pretty crazy. Like because once you start kind of looking at like it's by income level. So let's say less than 15,000. Black people are
Hmm.
about 30% of that. And it kind of lowers off, maybe about by 11, 10% as we get to about 30 to 50,000. Like we start to
Hmm.
get surpassed by Hispanics. But that's at a higher income level. That the
Hmm.
percentage for blacks, even when it comes to those higher income levels, let's say at least 75,000, 1.7%. You know what I mean? So you're
Damn.
even saying once people are getting above that range of 60,000 a year, that you know what I'm saying? Like, sure, there's like a lower number of unbanked, but there's a large percentage of black people that do not make over 100,000 a year. You know what I'm
That's
saying? Nonetheless,
crazy.
40 to 50. So it's just like to imagine that like even if we speak on the idea of being unbanked or not even having enough or you know like let's say even when it came to those economic government payments, it's saying even in the study that there was a large percentage of people that basically, once they got that money, like, that's what was put towards even making an account. You know what I'm saying? Nothing of
It's
their own
crazy.
money was even put into a bank account by any means, but it's just like, you know what what could we do other than the fact is that they're not really helping us as much as we can. Like,
Yeah.
I remember one time there was like a Uber driver I had that, of course, he was one of them that just want to start arguing with you, but he wanted to talk about how, there's nothing racist in legislation for America here right now. And maybe back
That's
in the
crazy.
60s, back in the 60s, he
Was he
literally
white?
said this, bro. Back in the 60s, yes, he was white. He was white, old, and
Yeah.
from the military. And he was talking about back in the 60s, that's when, of course, we had something racist in our legislation. But after that, they got rid of it. It's been gone. And it's just like, you don't really live. Like, I'm not
Hey
gonna
man,
say there
let me
aren't black people that aren't living well and don't have money, but like at the same time, let's not act like we're all equal here and that we get treated differently, or that we don't get treated differently whenever you even walk into stores or you're trying to go to a bank to get loans. Like, you get treated differently no matter where you go, and I kind of
have
hate,
you
I even hate, the idea of like, go ahead,
I was gonna ask, have you
go ahead, have I
encountered like
what?
many racist whites before?
All the time, bro, all the time. I
Yeah.
mean,
So you kind of just
there's
like
only so there's only so
oh
much
no,
you
go
can
ahead.
say.
Yeah, no,
No,
it's
that's all
like
I'm saying.
so
There's only so much you can say.
I tell people that when I meet white people, they're literally how they like are on TV, like to a T. Either you're like subliminally racist and you're like, oh my God, I didn't even know that was racist type shit. Or you're just like hard out racist type shit. It is just like, I was in a truck with a girl and she was talking about, because we work together, we were in a mobile vet company. Um, she was talking about, she was reading something like what was going on in another country or something like that. And she had said, I don't think America would ever let something that bad happen over here. Like, that's just ridiculous. And I was just like, you know, slavery happened, right? Like, they've already done that and still have not fixed the repercussions, like, of their actions. But all in all, to say, when people, there are a couple of, as racist as it sounds, there are some good ones out there, type shit. But like the ones that are in charge are
No,
majority, probably not like that.
nah, for sure. And again, tinfoil cap, I really feel like even when it comes to this racist country, I don't think it's that, that our government's necessarily the most racist as much as we're being ran by like a racist corporate America. And that might be
Business,
a lot to even say,
yes.
but it's kind of like, yeah, no
It's
business.
not
I
so.
mean, when you think about the business owners, and
Oh, you have.
I'm just saying,
Yeah,
like, if you got enough money, you're the one paying those lobbyists. You know what I'm saying? That's more of my thing. You're trying to get people into those politics who are going to support whatever you're doing. If you have
exactly.
the money and the power to do so. So it's just
They're just
like,
a nice
if
figurehead.
Trump can be president, yeah, that's it. If Trump can be president, any businessman can be a president. You know what I'm saying? But who has enough power to even pull their way through? You know what I'm saying?
So
It's
essentially,
kind of
what's
like
going to
a
have to
it's the
happen is I think what would have to happen is there's going to have to be like another foreign entity, but that's just focused on like being a good person type of shit, and then come in and like buying the American government essentially to like topple it over. And I feel like that's the only way like any like positive shit will come. Like you still have to make the money, but you still have to do right while you're doing it so people fuck with you and like there's going to be equality everywhere. Um, but that's like, that's just like, I'll say this. Hopefully you're still doing the podcast in like 10 years and you're like having like Drake and all. Maybe you'll just have me and on again or type shit. And by then I'm hoping to have like launched some type of scholarship fund grant of my own from my own name for children, hopefully back home in Georgia. I've seen like the money that I can make doing like my side hustles, which is like real estate essentially. And I think now that I'm like getting closer to that spot, because you know what you said something earlier that intrigued me. Like, if you're like 30, you can like settle down and like have kids and not like progress. But even at 30, like even I'm like 28. Because I always think I'm not even 28, I'm really 27, but I turned 28. I'm always like thinking ahead type shit. Um, you can be doing something for a long time type shit. Like you have a lot of time at your disposal to use it like
I agree.
properly to like grow into something beautiful
I
and like
agree.
you're like a tree, put yourself in the right environment, give yourself the right mindset, put yourself around forward thinking people like yourself, etc., and you can like really excel at something. Damn it. I feel like I got lost. Anyway, going back, I'm going to open up some type of
No,
foundation. It's going to help out the niggas in Georgia. It's going to be fire. Give me, what did I say? 10 years, five
no, I
years?
expect that.
Give me five. Give me five.
10 years, I think. Give you five.
Give
Five.
me
All
five.
right, all right. You gotta
Give
put
me
a little
five.
stamp on it. To
You know what I'm saying?
2028. But like, no, that's realistically like what you're saying in there is like, even when I said from your 20s, you can still move around, you can still do whatever in your 30s. Like, I met a 16-year-old man. It was a white man though. He owned boat houses out in Portland, but he was a forever bachelor. You know what I'm saying? I don't think he ever said he had kids, you know what I'm saying? But he's living his life how he wants to. And you know what I'm saying? He might have had to deal with hardships here or there, but over time, as long as you're making those progressive steps
Right
to like get
decisions.
what you want and put yourself in a stable position, and being consistent with that, it, you can manifest the law of that in your life, whether it be, you're search through it with religion, whether it be you do it through meditation through yourself and through, self-awareness of your own situations and how you need to improve in those ways. But like you said, like
Yeah.
you gotta make sure you're trimming that fat and you're surrounding yourself with things that are going to contribute to those goals, meaning the people around you, what you're feeding yourself with, what I'm saying, the food you're
Yeah.
intaking too, because everything plays a part, whether in you're not exercising, whether in you're eating fast food all the time. Like,
Yeah.
I know, it gets a lot to do a lot of the small things each day, but everybody has to do it. It's not like nobody
Yeah.
has their own small task, whatever that deemed to be, that they have to do all the time, because that's what's keeping them stable in the moment. But times change. You're going to change. You're supposed to evolve. I mean, you can still be the same person, but you can evolve as a person at the same time. There's no point of just kind of
Yeah.
like always trying to focus on being the same, or focus, staying with the same group that just thinks exactly the same as you. Like, iron sharpens iron. I have a good friend, Jamin, that has said that to me. There's no point
Yeah.
in
That's actually biblical if
situating
you didn't
yourself
know.
around with people that are just going to be, oh, I didn't, but it
Yeah.
still, like, that's the point. Like, you're not gonna get any better if you're around people that are just making you fatter, making
Yeah.
you more stagnant and more complacent, feeding into
Or
your
not
own
doing
echo chamber
anything,
and not really trying to, not doing anything. They're not even contesting you. You know what I'm saying? You don't need people enabling you. And not to say you need somebody arguing with you all the time, but you need somebody that's
But you
gonna
need somebody that's
contest
going to
your
make you better.
ideas and theories.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Because if
Yeah.
not, you're just depending on yourself, and it gets kind of lonely working by yourself. Go ahead.
That's funny that you say that. Yeah, that's like one of the reasons I've married my wife too, I find. I am married, if that wasn't like on display. But
Oh
yeah,
yeah, of
it's like
course.
one of
Congratulations,
those things where
respect to
like
black
we always
men.
don't appreciate it. Thank you, thank you. Black love. Majority of the marriages in the black community or the black race are same race. So don't let them put that idea that it's not. Um, but I was saying, yeah, she's like very much not all the way like aligned with what I'm thinking, and I really appreciate that because she comes at it from like a different angle of where the same method that I've been using like for so long does not help the situation that I'm in. So, and I like that she can be vocal enough to like tell me like you need to not do that because it's clearly not working. Like I think like the definition of insanity type shit is like doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. And so like yeah, essentially, she challenged me on those type of things. Of course, with like providing me with like love and affection and the attention that I need to like grow as a person and like puts me in that positive mindset. So I feel confident enough to like go after the things that I want to go after. And that's why I feel like even if you don't have like a wife that you'll find or like, but if you have a best friend like that, if that's like your mom's, like your grandmother type shit, or like anybody like close to you that you feel that like, you can be in a good place. People can say that you're in a good place. And it doesn't even matter what people say, but if they can like outwardly project that onto you and then you can project that into yourself, then like people you don't even know are going to be noticing like, oh my goodness, like he's in a good place, like you're going to be all right, da, 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 da. you know and then I have to give credit to my parents as well, like because they did an amazing job raising a black man, not even a black man, four black men in America type shit. And and all of us are still alive. We haven't had like negative interactions with the cops. Well, we have had plenty. We're not dead. Negative means death to me type shit. Getting out of the cops alive is always a positive. But it's
Mhm.
just it's just it's just nice to have somebody in your corner. And I think a lot of people need that. Sorry, I don't know where that came from.
No, for sure. No, no, it's valid, because I mean, like, even if it's not family, we always want to reference like blood being thicker than water, but I think, like, that
Shit,
that
bro.
might come from like a German saying, but I think there's another saying that comes from where blood is thicker than water, in terms of like, I can't remember the full thing, and I don't even feel like looking it up right now. I'll correct that later, but like, basically, the
No, go ahead.
reference is more so to soldiers fighting on the battlefield. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
People are actually fighting through blood, and that's kind of like the concept there is like, even when you find someone in your circle, in your corner, it's someone that always has your best interest in mind. You know what I'm saying? Not like some selfish whatever they want to tell you what they think is the only way to success, or they feel like is the only way to kind of display whatever. It's they know
Mm-hmm.
what your best interests are, and they try to give you advice in terms of you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because advice is so, universal. It's only going to work for whoever it actually speaks to. But it's just like the ones trying
Mm-hmm.
to pour into you, or trying to advise you, the actual ones that care about pouring into you are going to advise you how to still work within your goals to get what you want, and not to have to focus on something that isn't going to benefit you. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Now, there are things that did benefit other people, and you can do that. But again, like,
That's
having
not
that
for you.
person in
Not
your
everything
corner,
is not
being
for
able to kind
everybody.
of, no facts, but having that person in your corner, like feeding into you and giving you that time, or even giving you that room to just be able to either listen to you, truly listen to you, like, sit there and actually take in what you're trying to give them to receive, and maybe even repeating it back to make sure that you got the point. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Because you could be wasting your time with a lot of folks, but at the end of the day, that's where you got to really evaluate your circle. You got to
Yeah.
evaluate who's around you. You know what I mean? And I,
Birds
I
of a
found that
feather.
beautiful. You have a woman with you, man, flock together, or they all suck us together. It's endless.
It
It's
is what
endless.
it
Like
is. Yeah.
that, you can live in so many different perspectives, and only so many of them actually are worth your time. You know,
Yeah. But
but
that's the
at
beautiful
the
thing
same
about
time,
life.
doesn't
It's
mean that
so
you shouldn't
big.
listen to it.
Yeah, exactly.
No
My
fact.
my basic philosophy on that is like just take the good from everything and see what you can like learn it to, you know? See what you can learn it to. See what you can apply it to type shit. Like there's always a learning lesson somewhere. Like there's always a lesson in something, no matter how big the incident, how small, how much you disagree with it, how much you hate it, you can learn something from it. Whether it's like, okay, I need to not do that because I see how the type of reaction that gets, that's just going to be basic. That's just like what you're taught basically growing up. Like if I hear that like fucking crackling sound every time that I touch fire or some shit, like I'm not going to do it anymore. So, you'll find out what you like, you'll go towards that and etc etc. So yeah, yeah, it's I thank you though. We should be very much supporting people who support people, especially black men supporting black men and holding black men accountable, and and black women and holding black men accountable, and in a respectful way for black men to hold black women accountable, because I feel like as black men there's still like a problem with like sexism for some reason, and it's like, damn, like black women,
Hmm.
like they really do be going through a lot. Like we should really take it easy on them guys, but one thing at a time.
I think it's like it's weird how we always want to focus on certain groups, because we're all going through it. But like you're saying, there's definitely groups that are going through it harder than other ones. So it's just kind of like, being accountable, just even outside of race, just being accountable as an adult or just as an individual in the world. Because all you can really
Yeah,
be is accountable for yourself. You know what I'm saying? If you're not taking any accountability for what you're doing or how you're improving, again, like, you're gonna sit in an echo chamber. You're gonna sit in with people that try to validate you, and you shouldn't be sitting with anybody trying to validate you, because they're not helping you grow. They're not helping you grow at
and
all. If they're not willing to contest your ideas with different ideas, if you're just sitting with people that only agree with you, you only can be with people that agree with you, like, that's an echo chamber. You gotta step out of that.
and
You
you
gotta
know
step
what?
out of the box sometimes. And then
That's the problem with the U.S. country at this moment. We as a people do not challenge our leadership to say you guys need to do better. Like we should be in that bitch rioting, burning shit down. But hey,
I,
tinfoil hat. Hopefully, I don't get arrested in like 2 months or something. I didn't
man,
say that.
arrested or
Redact that.
killed. But that's the thing. Nah, yeah, you take all that back. But no, like, that's the thing about it is, it's just like we're all set in these weird, what I'm saying, spaces where it's just like, you wish there could be a revolution of some sort, whether it be of thought or whether it be leadership, whatever the case. But we're always gonna live in these like different systematic like holds on us. You know what I mean? How are you gonna
Yeah.
worry even
Yeah.
about that when you've already divorced
If
the
you
news?
can't even
You've
keep the
already
lights on,
divorced social
shit.
media. You can't keep the lights on, or you're too busy trying to keep the lights on. So you don't even care about all that because it doesn't. Again, there's only so much that really affects your life. Like we focus on bad that doesn't even really affect your life like that. You know, you could be talking
Yeah.
about a whole different country where they're having to sell organs and stuff, and sell off their daughters or whatever just to make it to the end of the week. You know what I'm saying? But we're not
That's
living
wild.
like that. We're not living to the point where you got to sell your daughters and stuff. But we are still dealing with human trafficking. There's still people always getting snatched, going missing, never being found, never
Yeah.
being found. And yet there's like
Black people.
so many cases out there that just keep, especially blacks. Oh, they be taking the blacks, but like
It's
no,
not in the news though.
it's
Not in the
endless. Like,
news
but
though, but
we
whatever.
it's not in the news, but we want to talk about we want to talk about how Trump's supposed to be arrested tomorrow Tuesday, the 21st of March or
And
something
then
like
that
that.
goes
We want to
trending on
focus
social
on like
media. Yep.
man, we want to focus on Christian and Blueface. We want to focus on stuff that
Yeah,
really
focus on
does
some
not
fucking
matter. Does
recipes,
not
nigga.
matter to your
That
life,
lower cholesterol. God
bro.
damn.
Bro,
Nigga, boy.
and I know you be up in that kitchen though, man. I know you got your hand in that, but that's a whole nother thing. You gotta strengthen your craft the best you can in other ways, man. Like there's too
Yeah,
many other
because it's
things
all
to
you
be
got.
positive about, to find positivity in. That's all you got. But
Yeah.
speaking on the food tip, what you been chefing up for real? What you got? You want to spit a little recipe or two for the fans out there? Might want something good on their palate. I don't know.
Recipe. Fuck it. Because I'm in California, right? I like making these like carne asadas, replicas. Essentially, it's like some shit like Worcester sauce. Then you gotta get like some type of Mexican seasoning in here. Damn, I'll pull it out for you next time, or I'll send you the link to it or some shit. But it's like they got some
You
specific
definitely
shit
send me
made
the
for
link.
it. All right, because you like to cook it up too. I was supposed to send you the link to what was that? That
You're supposed to send me to that
that
Korean
bao.
bread and then that Korean
Yeah, that
spicy
bao.
chicken. Yeah, yeah, the bao. That bao,
Yeah. I'm gonna send you
man,
that shit.
it's making my stomach
I'm gonna
kind of
send
bubble now. Nah, you need to
shit,
send
bro.
me
It's
that.
gonna take a
Gotta
minute. It's
stop
gonna make
folding,
your feet
man.
hurt. It's gonna make your feet hurt first, nigga. That shit, you gonna be on your feet cooking that bitch for a minute.
Oh yeah, but I love homemade. You know what I'm saying? You can't get nothing better than from scratch. So
True.
yeah, you
True,
gotta put
true.
your hand in there. You gotta put your hands in there. I don't know if you didn't
Yeah,
met
yeah.
anybody that used to, they be struggling to cook, eating icing or whatever they can.
Hey man, some nigga, it's not for everybody. How about that? You know what I'm saying? I'm not outside hooping right now in my 30s or early late 20s type shit because it's not for me. It's not for me. So if that's not for them, I ain't gonna hold it against them. But I would still do a nigga up on the court. Remember that.
That's a bet. That's a bet. But no, like man, I mean we didn't talked about so much really, but it's like
Yeah.
um
You gotta end it.
where was I gonna take this thought? No, 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 I ain't gotta end it. Well,
Mm.
not yet at least, but no, I was
Hmm.
just kind of thinking like you said you're 27 right now, correct?
Hmm.
Would you consider yourself a millennial?
I don't know, man. I don't really try to get caught up in that shit because this is like, well, fuck, I'm just old. Like, it's too many young niggas out here for me to be worried about what age group I'm fit in. Like, god damn, bro. Like, oh, goodness. Like, niggas I knew that were like kids are about to be 18 in a little bit. Some niggas are already 18, and like some niggas I know are about to be like 16. I don't knew like my god brother or something since he was like fucking in Pampers, nigga. This motherfucker about to graduate in a little bit. And I'm just like, what the fuck is going on anymore? So yeah, man, times are moving. I can't keep the trivial things. I try not to box myself into because I'm like, fuck, nigga.
Nah, I feel you. I feel you. What's your just because since we going down the
Yeah,
rabbit hole, like what's your zodiac too? By the way,
I'm a Cancer.
you're a Cancer. Oh, okay, I got a
Yeah,
cousin that's a
yeah,
Cancer.
yeah.
So your birthday in like
Greatest
June,
people on
July
earth. You're right. June 24th.
sometime. June 24th. Okay. So then like your parents probably conceived maybe around, I want to say August, September, probably around that time. So
I have to check.
you could have been a nice little
I
fall
was a
baby.
bastard child. I was a bastard baby. That's what I was. I don't
I
know
am
when.
too.
Ah, you get it. These niggas wild out here. But no, I think my mom and dad met 1 year and then had me type shit. It was a very quick introduction.
Okay. But you're, because I know I'm friends with your one of your brothers, but you're the oldest out of the group, correct? Well, I
Yeah,
met your brother
yeah, I'm the
initially.
oldest. Yeah, it's about five of us. Well,
Okay,
four and a
okay.
half. He's the last one's a half brother. But yes, about four of us. Yeah, four of us. Four of us that we grew up with. Yeah, and being the oldest of that was
I
an
respect that. I
experience.
got, but no, I have seven siblings myself. So,
Damn, nigga,
but out of
relax.
that I
It's not a
have,
competition.
yeah. I mean, nah, it ain't. But like as far as what you're saying, I think, as far as like who's my full relation is two. So I got two
Nah,
other siblings that for sure we all kind of just grew up around each other, like mainly within our own home with our mother. You
mm,
know what I'm saying? But like it is kind of a weird dynamic whenever you kind of have like so many siblings and stuff, because like I know you had those experiences compared to like those that were single children, you know um because it's kind of like I ain't gonna say you just not as selfish, you know what I'm saying? You probably still as selfish, but like being around kind of in the environment around with people and you have to kind of be forced to share or forced to kind of live in spaces, you know what I'm saying? I feel like it
mm.
puts you in like a different mindset as far as like dealing with people just a little bit, you know
Yeah, yeah.
not too
Having the
much
same
different than what it is. Of
circumstances,
course, like people are, yeah,
shared experiences,
you
yeah,
know.
all that. It makes you
Um,
like really close with somebody. And then when you find people like that out in the wild and they like have the same mindset on you, it's like, oh, that's what's up, bro. Like, that's my nigga type shit.
no thanks, facts. So that's why I mean, even when it comes to family, man, I don't think too much even into like my own beginnings, really. You know what I'm saying? I more so think into the people around me that I feel like are pouring into me and are always testing and contesting my ideas in life.
Yeah,
Because at the end of the day, like I'm gonna sit in some echo chamber if I don't like step outside of my comfort zone to some degree.
exactly.
So,
Mhm.
but I don't know, man. I mean, it kind of gets weird and stuff. So, like, how do you feel, like, as a black man currently in these state of times?
Oh shit, man! I'm always looking around my shoulder. Anytime I tell I don't know if I even tell my wife, but I'm literally always scanning for 12 because I've had like guns pointed in my face by police growing up and like just having experiences. Like them niggas broke into my house one time, not broke into my house, right? They got access because I lived in Auburn and they roomed all the black people together essentially. So they roomed me with some random that went to Tuskegee, didn't even know this nigga, right? Never seen him a day in my life.
Mm.
Motherfucker was like involved in like some type of like car boosting or like credit fraud type shit. Da 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 da. Had the police break into
Jesus.
or get access from the front office to go into our apartment. Right, I don't get any heads up. I'm in there with like my dog and my ex at the time. They're looking for him. They come because my hallway door was on the closest door to the front door. So they came right to my door. My roommate,
Mhm.
who was like on the same hallway as me, was out. He went to ROTC shit or something like that. So he wasn't even in the house. Nobody else was in the house. Um, I was in the house. So they come in at my door all the way back. I'm like probably having the PS4 on or PS the music, whatever the fuck. And I hear a knock on the door. I hear the police. And it's not my front door, it's like my door. So they're at my like room door. They open it. They have like guns pointed in my face. I see like two detectives and an officer type shit, all with their guns pointed. Like I'm just like, what the fuck? They asked me if I'm such and such, like that guy. I can't remember his name, and I was like, no, he lives across the hall or some shit. He's like, you know where he is? I was like, no, and I hear police. I forgot to say, I also hear
Hmm.
police on the door, and I had to hide my like paraphernalia. right? My weed paraphernalia and shit at the time, and try to like put it in the bathroom and like hopefully they don't go in there type shit. Ugh. Goodness gracious, they find it and all that
Mhm.
shit. I have guns pointed in my face. They bring me out to the living room and tell me to sit down, and I'm just like, okay, what is this about? He's like, we'll tell you when he's done in there type shit. And I'm just like, oh my fucking god. So essentially, like they come out with
God
like my
damn.
bong and shit and like my grinder. And I'm just like, fuck, even in the comfort of my own home, I cannot be black. This shit is crazy. So like he's just making like jokes about this situation too. He's like he's like open the grinder. Ooh, you didn't get this from Tyrone, huh? I was like, come on, bro. What's up with you? And essentially like yeah, he explains the situation. I'm just like and I'm high of course at the moment. So I was just like, oh my fuck, I'm going to die. Da da da. Um, so yeah, essentially he just like lets me off like I did something wrong. He just only makes me throw the weed paraphernalia product away and shit and like flush it down the toilet or something like that. Um, so of course like it was like a whole
Damn.
experience. And from there I've had like other bad experiences with the police. Like I have like a good bit of stories for my like traumatization to be like in real effect. So every time I see police cars now, I get like super nervous and like not damn near having a panic attack, but I'm very much like watching them like a hawk and making sure like nothing is about to come my way because I've just been blindsided so many times by the police for like living my life. Yeah, it's fuck 12. Of course.
I respect that. I respect that. So how does it feel now that you're in like a legal place for marijuana or whatnot? I guess I know it has to be a
It's
different
fuck
vibe
12,
for
of
sure.
course. It's always gonna be fuck 12, man. It's just like it's not even like weed is involved in all of my situations of where I was like being criminally interrogated, not in the proper fashion by police, right? It's like I say, like living life as a black man in America, like shit, bro. Rodney King started out here, and I heard about that like growing up type shit. So I'm not even like, oh man, these are gonna be like some fucking hippie loving police. Just fuck these niggas, bro. Line on the line, life on the line or not. I get it, bro. It's a dangerous job, but you ain't gotta like fuck with every nigga that you see on the street or fucking know about. Damn. Um, yeah, so I always like start getting real paranoid. I start watching like in my rear view mirror, making sure like they're not about to turn the lights on at any minute, like turn down the street that I'm turning, blah blah blah. So yeah. It's always fucked up.
No, I
Sad, but
mean,
yeah.
like you saying, like we even as black men have to just move differently a lot of the time. Even besides just being a man, and just being a black one is just a whole different thing because a lot of times, like, I haven't dealt with too many times with police. Not that I haven't avoided from. You know what I'm saying? But it's just like a lot of times, bro, you can make so many wrong moves, bro, and the situation can go so left just because you wanted to
Right.
be prideful or you were just like you were in a wrong in a
Hey, bro.
small way and you just wanted to
Hey,
kind of deflect in your own way, like bro, like
it's not ever worth it,
it
bro.
doesn't
I've
like
picked up my brother
change up.
so many times,
No, it's not.
and I'm pretty sure like shit could have
Just
been
running
cool if
away
like you just
or
like yes sir. No, not running away. It's just like it's just like black people have black men have negative interactions with the police, and he's more like
it's true.
I've seen him talking back in the back of cuffs type shit, like in the back of a car in cuffs type shit, just because he couldn't be like, bro,
Damn.
just relax, like just let it go for the second, bro. Like pop off when that nigga leave, but please, it makes your life so much easier. And I know it's like so hard for us as like black men or even black anybody or even as a human. It's hard to be a human and want to be
Facts.
degraded by police. I understand it. I bleed for your concern and your cause. I really do, but like value your life in that moment. Like it could go so many negative ways where so I always I have this saying now too when people ask me the question that you asked me about police brutality, like my first reaction when I see police is like I didn't tell my mom I love her today type shit. Like this could be the very last time I had any interaction with anybody because these niggas are gonna dead my shit on sight. And that's just a really good fear tactic. It might just be me being like afraid, but shit, bro, trauma is tough. I probably should go to therapy about it.
No, it's real. It's real. It's real. I mean, bro, because like you're saying, like you could pull your trigger at any time. I remember some wise men saying that, and is this the day that you want to pull it? Because like you could put yourself in that situation. You might have felt right to do that. I could relate to many degrees because many times I want to act out whenever people are coming at me left. But it's like, bro, whenever you're able to reserve yourself, even in that moment, like you save yourself so many headaches because at the end of the day, like it isn't gonna change the situation. You still gotta either eat
Oh
the
man, my
bullet or you
phone's
gotta,
dying.
still deal with somebody doing that. You know,
Right. Let
it
me get my
it, it
charger.
might happen again tomorrow. No, go ahead.
Yeah, tomorrow, the next day, the day after that. Hey man, until shit is like fixed, it's
Day
it's
after
gonna be
that,
like
it
that
might
for a
happen
minute.
to your
Yep.
happen to your kids. Like that's another thing. Having kids right now, it's a scary place all around because there's so many things you can't truly protect them from. But at the same
Yeah.
time, that's not like, that's still a
I
part of life. Like
okay.
you
I had to
can't,
switch my shit to charge it.
stop the fact of I'm so weak. But no, you can't stop the fact of like the times you're living in and what's happening. Like, you know what I mean? That's not the point of just kind of like being afraid of life. But at the same time, again, you like you're saying, you got to move cautiously, as cautious as you can, but not, don't restrict people or restrict yourself from still living life to the fullest
Right.
as you want to.
Right.
You can
Right.
still
And that's what
enjoy
that's what
the
my
small
mother-in-law
things. You can
told me
still
during
enjoy
COVID.
going out.
Yep. Yep, definitely.
No facts. But nah, he's pretty solid, man. So I gotta ask though, before we can wrap it up, because I ain't gonna hold you. My back is hurting. But like, where'd you get that hoodie from, big dog?
Probably Forever 21. I hold on to a lot of clothes as long as I can, man. It's one love or some shit. Appreciate the ass.
Nah, I appreciate that. Shoot, I appreciate the new find. I might have to try to find something like that. It actually looks really nice. I like collecting
Oh
my
yeah.
hoodies. Things come and go. But
Bro, cheap
yeah,
cheap
man.
clothes
I
are the
mean,
way to
honestly,
go
I
if
just
you're like that.
appreciate. No facts. But no, honestly, man, I really do appreciate the conversation. I guess, we can just kind of wrap it up
Oh
here. And,
yeah, man.
what I'm saying? I just appreciate just anybody coming out and listening to the show for real, and of course my man Vino.
Appreciate you for having me. Oh, hold up. I think I lost you one last time.
Oh, my fault.
Try
I was
again.
saying
Oh yeah,
I
I got
appreciate you coming out, Vino. But you said
you. No,
you're gonna be moving back to Atlanta within like some time, right? Within a year maybe?
hopefully, yeah, hopefully, man. California's not worth it. Don't let these niggas sell you that dream on TV, bro. This shit is expensive and it's like anywhere fucking else. It's always nice things to do. But coming from like a place like fucking Texas or Georgia, where our stores are big as shit and everything here is like small, intimate shops where I'm getting trapped into being in, I feel like I'm
And then it just
Oh,
cut.
I feel like
Yeah, I feel
it's very close to nature and beaches and modern civilization. It is a nice place. It can be nice if you're stupid fucking rich and you want to waste all that money. I'm not in the place of my life, excuse me, where I want to waste
like.
all that money. I'll be one day. I promise I will be. But it's not now, and I can admit that it was fun while it lasted.
Nah, I respect that, man. Well, shit, I appreciate you coming out again. I guess that's the conclusion of our episode. And,